The Sports Combo, continuing our NFL draft coverage, and we're moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Defense wins championships. And the top player on everyone's board is Chase Young, defensive end from Ohio State. He has the size, speed, length, explosiveness, and athleticism to make an instant impact. He has a few warts to his game. A lot of people compare him to Nick and Joey Bosa. I don't think he's as athletic as Joey Bosa, but I do think he's more like Nick. Either way, you're getting a great player that's going to step in day one and rush the passer. The Washington Redskins are going to bring the hometown boy home at the number 2 pick if they're smart. But it's a Redskins, so you never know. Moving on to some instant impact players, Isiah Simmons should be a top 5 pick in this draft. The New York Giants or the Detroit Lions, or whoever trades up for the number 3 or number 4 pick, is going to get an instant playmaker. Isiah Simmons has the size, speed, length, athleticism, and he's explosive. He can make tackles. He can run sideline to sideline. He can play linebacker, safety, and even played some corner in college. In today's NFL positionless league, he is the ultimate chess piece. Defensive coordinators are going to love him, having him lined up anywhere. He's the ultimate chess piece for a guy like Bill Belichick. Unfortunately, they don't pick as high to draft him, but he perfectly fit in the New England Patriots defensive system. But think about that kind of player, but even more talent than some of those linebackers used to have in Bill Belichick's heyday with Vrabel and Bruschi. Isiah Simmons is another playmaker in this league. A couple of other names, big-time name, Jeff Okuda, cornerback from Ohio State. True shutdown corner. He's a guy, think of Darrelle Revis. And that's why Jeff Okuda is thought of highly to go in the top 5. Detroit is a rumored place of interest for him. He has the size and length to cover bigger wide receivers. He has speed to stay with these top receivers. Great for a 3-4 defense. He can cover a guy on an island, and then you basically shut down that receiver. So you can put him on your best receiver, on the opposing team's best receiver, and he's going to have a long day with low receptions, no fantasy points to speak of. So Jeff Okuda is a top guy to watch out for. Next, we move on to Derrick Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn. This guy is a man amongst boys. He's going to step into the league and stop top rushers. He's a guy you plug into the middle of that line. He can play in a 4-3 or a 3-4. It doesn't matter. He can play the nose, but he's a guy that's going to definitely stop the run. An instant playmaker as far as stopping the run, which you need to take out the balance of other opposing offenses. Derrick Brown, another guy that's rumored to go to the New York Giants, but he's a guy that's going to make an instant impact at defensive tackle. Derrick Brown is the name to watch as an instant impact player in next year's season. We move on to Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina. Now, he's getting a lot of buzz recently, moving up, and some draft scouts have him higher than Derrick Brown. The reason why is you can move him along all over the line. He can play end. He can play interior defensive line. The thing with him that's great is that he can rush the passer but also stop the run. So you're talking about a 3-down player, whereas maybe Derrick Brown is first and second down. And then you get him off the field for maybe a more up the field pass rushing defensive lineman. But Javon Kinlaw is a guy that can do it all on the line. Now, he's very similar to Buckner, who the Colts just got from the Niners. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners use their number 13 pick and draft a guy like Javon Kinlaw, because he fits in seamlessly and he costs a lot less. We're going to move on to another corner that's getting a lot of buzz as well, CJ Henderson from Florida. He's a corner that's rising, 6'1", framed, 200 pounds. Not a great tackler. That's his issue right now. Solid speed, but he's more of a zone corner. So while he's getting buzz, and I've seen some scouts have him ahead of Jeff Okuda, I would not move him ahead of Jeff Okuda. Jeff Okuda is a true shutdown corner. But if you play it in a zone defense, your teams may want a guy like CJ Henderson that, like I said, fits the 4-3 defense right away, plays great zone coverage, but not a willing tackler. So, that's part of his game that he's going to have to refine, but a solid plug-and-play guy in a 4-3 defense. Another corner that I kind of like is Kristin Fulton, cornerback from LSU. His issue has been injuries. He was injured early in his career. He was a top recruit, and he was also suspended for a while last year. But he has great physical tools: size, length, speed. He can become a great cover corner. He would fit in a 3-4 defense. He's a guy that, as long as the injury background and you do the background check off the field, if all that checks out, you could have a top player at the position that you can get a little later in the NFL draft. So Kristin Fulton is a guy I would watch for as well. We're going to move on to some safeties right now as far as impact players. Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Great safety. He might be the most complete safety in this draft. He's good in coverage. He can make tackles. He can cover tight ends. He can cover running backs out of the backfield. But he can also play the run. He can also bring the blitz. Playing in Alabama, he's learned from Nick Saban and a great defense that they've had for years. So learning under that program allows you to make as best a seamless transition as you can into the league. He's the most complete safety in the draft, and someone's going to have a solid pick there with Xavier McKinney. Moving on to some other corners in the draft, Trayvon Diggs is a solid corner. Also another Alabama player, 6'1", 205, size, strength, great ball skills. The thing with him is he was a former wide receiver who converted to cornerback. So he's still learning the game, but I like those wide receivers that convert to corner because they know what wide receivers are looking for, how they move in their routes, what to look for as far as first step, what tells that wide receivers may have. So Trayvon Diggs could have a solid career in the NFL. The issue with him is his long speed. So he might be best in a 4-3 zone where you have more coverage ability and safeties helping. He may also move to free safety, but he's a guy that has tools that can become a solid player in the league. Another defensive playmaker that we like is Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma. 6'2", 235 pounds, 4.5 speed. Now, you love that speed for a linebacker. That's faster than some of the top wide receivers in this draft. He can move sideline to sideline, which you need in today's NFL with all the speed that goes on. Solid tackler, can cover tight ends, can cover running backs, able tackler, and right now he can play the run pretty well as well and stuff running back. So he's a complete linebacker, a guy that can play the mic, can play the other linebacker positions, but he's a guy that can step in right away and make plays. Patrick Queen is another linebacker from LSU, 6'1", 225. Same thing with Kenneth Murray. He has the speed to play sideline to sideline, can stuff the run, great speed. The thing that separates him from Kenneth Murray is that he can rush the passer really well. He has that speed to do so. So you're talking about he can play all the linebacker spots, but he can come out and play the outside linebacker. So you can kind of use him as a chess piece. Not as talented as Isiah Simmons, but he's a guy that you can use. And look, learning from a national championship run also allows for him to step on the big stage of the NFL.